Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 3 of SEO School. Sorry, I think I'm a minute or two late. I just had a little bit of an internet problem. It's playing up today, but I am glad to be live with you now. And I am going to give it a minute, as I do normally, just to make sure people can get on the live stream and until I start to see your comments coming through as well, so that I know everyone can hear me properly. So let me know how your Wednesday is going so far. Hey Stephanie, you're joining us live this time. Is it your first time joining us live? If so, welcome. Charlotte's here for round 3 as well. Very excited to be diving into the SEO action plan with you this evening. It is full of stuff for you to digest and take away. So I am excited for us to dive into this together. So hey, Paul, good to see you here as well today. No, you don't need to have seen the other videos in order to see this. The trainings are designed to be standalone, so they all work well together in unison. But you can watch this without having seen the other 2 videos. So don't you worry at all about that. Amazing that Carolyn is here again with us from Australia. So it's great to see you. And I am excited that we are doing this thing together again. So bear with me a second. I'm going to just make sure that we're okay that we're live everywhere, okay, and everyone can see me on YouTube as well. If you're watching on YouTube, we've got a couple of people who are commenting. Everything seems to be good. Emma says, I think I just broke my toe on a stool getting to this call. That is dedicated indeed. So I hope that you enjoy it and that, I don't, let you down in any way, because broken toe, we want it to be good quality. So bear with me just a second. I've had a couple of tech issues today, and I just want to make sure you can see everything that I am about to show you. And then we're all good to go. So Megan says, only had my small business going since mid-September and was feeling overwhelmed with the idea of SEO, but I've been learning so much already. I'm excited to learn more. Amazing. Arlene is here on YouTube as well, so that's great. Great. Hopefully my words work properly today. Thank you so much to everyone who's joining live again tonight. I am really enjoying these sessions. I love doing live stuff. I love having comments as well. It's really great having the interaction, especially when it's such a topic that people often find overwhelmed by. I think it's nice to be able to do it live, because if there's anything in particular that you've got questions about, you can join in and ask for clarification. So if you're watching this on the replay and you haven't been able to join us live yet, do remember that tomorrow we've got a bonus session, and that bonus session is looking at search versus social algorithms. I'm going to be talking about Etsy and the difference between SEO for Etsy and SEO for a website, and what search algorithms look like on different platforms. I'm also going to be talking about how we market on social platforms like Instagram and Facebook versus search platforms like Google, Etsy, Pinterest, and other things like that as well, and YouTube as well. It's also a search-based platform. So we're going to be exploring that tomorrow in the bonus session, and then on Friday we've got a live Q&A session. So I'm really keen for you to make the most of this week and ask me any questions that you've got. If you're feeling overwhelmed, do make the most of coming to those live opportunities. Nikki, that's great feedback. You've made it sound much more doable. That's what I'm here for. Before this, the word SEO leaves me feeling meh. So often there's a quote that I put on my Instagram recently, but it's something to do with ignorance leaves us feeling more confused than ever. I can't remember the exact quote. It's a lot more articulate than that. But just debunking some of and demystifying some of the jargon goes a long way to helping us feel like it's doable. So Kirsty's here and is excited as well. Hey everyone, it's great to see all these comments coming through as well. So I was just saying, I have had a couple of tech issues just before I signed on today, which is why I was a couple of minutes late. So I'm just making sure that the internet stays stable and so on. So if you just give me one little minute and then we will get started. So bear with me a minute. I'm just emailing my husband to make sure he uses his data and doesn't come and do the church meeting on the Wi-Fi. So that's the level that we've got to today, guys. The internet is so delicate that we're just making sure that we don't crash and burn in the middle of a session. Right. We are on with the show. Thank you so much for being patient. And we are about to rock and roll. As I said, this is a big one. So make sure you've got a cuppa handy, maybe a gin or a glass of wine, and make sure you grab a notebook as well. And then we are going to be diving in to the SEO action plan, and you are going to know exactly what to do in terms of strategy to start implementing SEO and making it feel much more doable for your business. So here we go. Just pulling up my windows. I've got so many things open. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Right. All groovy. Where are we at? Don't want to close you by accident while I'm closing all the other windows to make sure I don't get disconnected. Okay, perfect. So the SEO action plan. Hot chocky, amazing. I love that. I've got my I've got a cheeky little Diet Coke, but I would like to have a glass of red wine. I'm not gonna lie, that would be nice. But there's a joke. So I'm the SEO coach for the Ecom Growth Hub for Amanda Perry, and there's an ongoing joke with a few people in there that I have SEO wine for when I'm doing my coaching course for that group. So quite often SEO and wine are quite a nice pairing. But tonight I'm sticking with the caffeinated drinks because I can't have dairy, and so Coke Zero is where it's at. Sadly, it does not have gin in it. So good to see that you've got some good you've all got some good drinks. Marie has also had internet issues all day and wondering if it's everyone commenting on the election. That's a really good shout. And this is doing SEO school in the middle of like UK lockdown, COVID election in the US, everything that's been going on in the world. I wasn't sure how many people would turn up, but it's great that you're all with me, focusing on SEO, which is something we can do. It's actionable, and all of that stuff in the world around us is not actionable at the moment. So I am excited for us to dive into this and maybe just ignore all the stuff that's going on in the world for a little bit, at least for a little bit. Okay, so sharing my screen with you and getting our slides up for today. Nikki's got a vanilla latte. That sounds delicious. What an autumnal drink indeed. Pink gin is great though, isn't it? So just making sure, yep, you can see everything. So that's perfect. Okay, so as usual, with when I'm presenting the slides, I can't see your questions coming through. So as soon as I get to the end of the slides, we're going to have a big old Q&A session, and I will go back through the comments and I will make sure I answer your questions and comments about this. We've had a few people asking questions that are things like keyword research, for instance. I will be giving you a little bit of info on that today. But as you'll see, SEO is a big topic. So I will be giving you, a broad stroke overview so you understand the basics of it. And then if you've got specific questions, I can answer those in the comments. And as soon as I finish slide sharing, I will be diving into those comments. So do ask them as you go, and I'll make sure we cover them. So for tonight's session, we have got SEO School Day 3. You've made it to Day 3, and I am so honored that you're spending your Wednesday evening with me live. And if you're taking the time to watch this replay, then welcome indeed. So it's normal for us all to feel overwhelmed by SEO because the marketing industry does next to nothing to make SEO accessible. But SEO is awesome. And so today I'm really excited that we're diving into some specifics about what exactly SEO is and what you can do to implement SEO on your website. And we want to just understand and feel confident that after this, you're going to have a really good understanding of SEO, and you don't don't need to feel overwhelmed by all the jargon that gets attached to it, because that jargon is from marketing agencies who want you to pay £500 a month to pay them to do that SEO. And I worked with a client earlier this year who had worked with a marketing agency, and they charged her £12,000 over a 2-year period of time to do her SEO. And at the end of that period of time, I did an audit for her, and they had not been doing anything for her business. So she had spent £12,000 because she didn't understand what SEO was or how to implement it herself. But this agency had actually used that opportunity to make a huge amount of money from her without really following up on what they had committed to do. So it's in the marketing industry's best interest to make SEO feel too difficult for the average business owner to manage. And in today's workshop, I'm going to debunk and demystify all of that and make sure that you're feeling completely confident by the end of it to at least start making inroads in this area. So why don't people take SEO seriously? The first thing is that it can often feel too technical and overwhelming because the language isn't very accessible. The second thing is it takes a little while to see results because it's a long-term strategy, which we've looked at already in SEO School and thought about the difference between long and short term. And the third thing is that it's really easy to put SEO off without seeing a negative impact on your bottom line. Because it takes a while to see results, if we don't do SEO, we don't immediately feel the impact of the lack of sales, and so we're not motivated necessarily to do SEO and to make sure that we are being consistent with that. But why should people take SEO seriously? So firstly, as we've seen again this week, focusing on long and short-term strategies saves you time and money in the long run. So making sure that we've got a good balance of that. The second thing is that we've got less pressure to make sales from our social media audience, so we can have fun with it, we can connect with our audience, we can really build those authentic, which is a classic marketing word, authentic relationships with people. And that's one of the things I love most about Instagram is the conversations that I have with people in DMs. I absolutely love being able to connect with people. And the third thing is it brings new customers and wholesalers to you instead of you needing to go to them. So it's your dream clients coming to you and you're not having to go out and find them all the time. So SEO is a form of inbound marketing, and inbound means people come to you instead of you having to go to them. And it's the nicest form of marketing because it needs the least of our time and energy to get those new customers. So one of the things that I wanted to just use as an example for you is that you wouldn't get a bricks and mortar shop and ignore your taxes, your building insurance and your utilities, would you? If you decided that you wanted to sell your products or you wanted to provide your services from a shop on the high street, you would have different things that you needed to do in order to comply with the council and make sure that your rent got paid and all of those things. You also wouldn't ignore things like visual merchandising and regular cleaning of your shop. So there's if you have a bricks and mortar shop, there's all these tasks and chores and things that we have to learn about and know about in order to run a physical shop in our businesses. And in the same way as that, SEO is housekeeping for our online businesses. So when we run an online business, we have to do housekeeping to make sure that that space is enjoyable for customers to come to. And search engine optimization is housekeeping for that. It flags up all the things that might be a negative experience. It shows us the cobwebs and the things where stock isn't in the right place, for instance, and it makes sure that our online shop is a hospitable space for visitors. So that is why we take SEO seriously. So if you're planning on being in business in 12 months time or beyond, then you need to spend time on your SEO. You need to spend time focusing on that customer experience, on making sure that your website is performing well, and on making sure that your brand is being built online. You wouldn't go into a bricks and mortar shop and not bother to put a sign outside the shop to tell people who you are. That's what we're doing here with SEO. We're making sure that our online shop is as good as it can be in terms of the presence on that digital high street. If you don't plan on being in business in 12 months time, then you don't need to spend time on your SEO, because SEO is going to give you the biggest return on investment over a period of time due to the nature of it. So I am just going to introduce myself very briefly for anyone who's joining for the first time live, because I know we've had a few people drop in and out, but I'm Mineksha. If you haven't watched the previous 2 videos, I introduced myself on video 1, but this is a little summary of who I am and why I'm talking to you about search engine optimization today. And you can see me there with my faithful poodle Dougal, who I always joke is a very SEO knowledgeable dog, maybe the most in the world. But I know Kyla from Dog Hair Inc. has got a couple of dogs that have been joining on our SEO workshops as well. So he might have some stiff competition in the world of SEO pooches. So what everyone else is doing and why it doesn't work. And you are in the small percentage of business owners who are aware of these problems, and you're committed to finding a better way of doing things because you're here with me, taking search engine optimization seriously and maybe stepping out of your comfort zone slightly to learn about something that has felt overwhelming to you. So what everyone else is doing, only posting on social media, trying to get into certain events and markets or marketplaces as the key to making it. So thinking, oh, for me to be a successful business, I need to get on Not on the High Street, for instance, or there's a certain market that happens every year that all the big businesses go to, and I need to get into that. And also then DIYing their marketing from online checklists, but getting discouraged when nothing changes. So I wanted to show you this screenshot. I talked about this yesterday. If you Google SEO checklist, you can see at the top there, we've got nearly 16 million results. So if you want a checklist to tell you what you need to do for SEO, there are 16 million results on Google waiting to tell you all about your URLs and your H1 tags and your meta descriptions and all this kind of thing. But the problem that we've got is those checklists might give us contrasting information, for instance. Some of them might be from 5 years ago and they might not be up to date. So it can be quite an overwhelming space and people can get discouraged really easily. And then the final thing that other people tend to be doing with SEO, which I touched on a few minutes ago, is throwing money at agencies and professionals who talk a big game, but they're not actually doing anything to move your business forward in the search engine results. And an extreme example of that is my client who lost £12,000 in her business and didn't see any return on investment for that. So average costs for SEO in the UK. This is a really quick guide. I can send you the link to this research if you are interested. But we've got some interesting stats here. Cheap SEO, 50 quid a month. That is very often going to get you a Google penalty because it uses black hat techniques from people who don't keep their skills up to date and they don't necessarily know what they're doing. So you get very little of worth and it can actually damage your business. Then mid-level SEO, you have £500 to £1,500 a month of monthly fees, and you can get charged a setup fee by an agency, which is really typical of anything between £2,000 and £4,000. And you can see here that's for smaller websites with little competition in Google and Bing. So that's the average cost for a small business owner with a Shopify website or something like that. And then high-end SEO gets to be £1,500 to £10,000 with much higher setup fees. That's for bigger, complicated businesses. But I know someone, for instance, who works with independent businesses and her SEO fee is £6,000 to do a project over 6 weeks. So that is the average cost of SEO. And I think you'll agree with me, it is really not accessible for the majority of small business owners because it's such a substantial amount of sales. So I've worked with agencies in the past who've actually refused to work with small business owners who are making less than, £100,000 a year because they can't feel confident that they're going to get enough results for that person. But there's a better way than this, and I am committed to it, which is why I'm here today. It's why I like doing stuff on Instagram to educate you about SEO, because I want to equip business owners like you, especially creatives, to have marketing confidence, because I don't think it needs to be that complicated. And I don't want you to have to pay retainers month after month unless you decide that you want to and you understand exactly what you're getting for that money. And I want you to be able to feel in control of your business and marketing, and for you to be in business for the long term as well, because it's not just about the next 3 months. It's not just about getting through to January and then getting through to Easter and then getting through the summer holidays. It's about building a sustainable business that serves you for years to come. So SEO is much more than a checklist. The reason that people download those DIY checklists and try to implement them and don't see any results is because there's a whole lot of stuff that happens before you get to the checklist if you want to truly see the impact of a good strategy. So there are 3 keys to SEO success. We've got strategy, we've got action, and we've got consistency. And I want to show you a screenshot from my marketplace to show you the impact over time when it comes to traffic from SEO. So here we've got October 2017 at the bottom with the orange lines, and we've got the top line, the blue lines, is 2 years later, October 2019. And so we've got these pie charts here. And what you can see from the pie charts is back in 2017, 53% of our traffic was coming from social media. So over half of our traffic was coming from social media. And that means that I have to, put posts up on social media, get people's attention, interrupt what they were looking at, and get them to come over to my website to make a purchase. Social media marketing is quite hard work. It involves a lot of time and energy and effort, and you have to show up and really engage. And so when you're first starting out in business, and this is, I think it was 4 months after our new website launched. So 4 months after our website launched, we're still building up our organic search. And you can see that we've got 30% of our traffic's coming from organic search. But you fast forward 2 years and we now have nearly 50% of our traffic coming from organic search instead of social media. So organic search is that traffic that is just coming to me through Google without me having to do anything, because I've implemented keywords. I've made sure that my site is optimized. And you can see that we've gone from an average of between 200 and 400 visitors a day up to nearly 600 on a busy day, to an average of 500 to 700 visitors, and I'm not having to put anywhere near the same amount of effort in, because my traffic is coming directly and through organic search. So direct traffic shows a high level of brand awareness, and organic traffic shows that you are ranking in search results for keywords, and social traffic shows that you've got a lot of people coming to you from social media channels like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and so on. So I would love for you, if you've got Google Analytics installed for your business, to go and have a look at what your traffic sources currently look like. Because if your traffic is coming from one platform, so for instance, in 2017 in October, if there had been a social media algorithm update, then 52% of my website traffic would have been at risk. And that's why I shared with you earlier today in the Facebook group the fact that even though my Facebook ads account got restricted in October, my business still grew 120% on the previous October because of good search engine good search engine optimization and results showing in this space. So what is SEO then? Lots of people, including digital marketers, think that SEO is just keyword optimizing your website. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today are the 3 distinctive parts of SEO, because I've had quite a few people ask me, how do I do keyword research? And that is a really vital, important part of SEO, but it is not search engine optimization. You will have a lot of people on social media who claim to know what they're talking about with SEO. They might be marketing generalists, they might be copywriters, and they might know a little bit about how to put keywords on a website. But search engine optimization, as I've said before, is its own skill. And so we need to really take it seriously as its own marketing discipline, rather than just thinking, oh yeah, I know how to put keywords on a page. And that's where these 3 distinctive parts come in. So it's not an add-on, it's not an upsell. If you're getting your website developed and they say, hey, add on our SEO package for £500, you want to make sure that you understand exactly what they're offering before you say yes to that service, because it can be very easy to just say, oh yeah, okay, I don't know about SEO, and they probably do, but actually they might not know any more than you do, and they might just be using the same checklist on Google that you'd be using. So the first thing, on-page SEO. So this is to do with anything, any of the copy and the content on the page of your website. So that's to do with the words on your website, the images on your website, and it's also to do with the HTML code of the page. So I don't want to get really overly technical in this workshop, because we are going to have to go through this at motor speed to get through all of the content. But basically, when you format your different parts of your website, what's happening in the background of your Shopify site or your Squarespace site is that they're adding little HTML tags to show Google and to make things appear a certain way. And so on-page SEO is to do with that HTML on the page of your website. So it includes things like headings, your titles, your meta descriptions, or your also known as your SEO descriptions. It also includes image, alt text, and then the content like your product description or your blog post. And those things are your on-page things. So what are some of the things that you need to keep an eye on for your on-page SEO? They are making sure you've got relevant keywords on your pages and doing good keyword research, and making sure you don't have a lot of duplicate content. If you've got a lot of duplicate content on your website, then you will have a lower quality score with Google. So you want to make sure that your product descriptions are all unique, for instance. Thin content, if you've got any web pages that have only got 150 words on, then they will get flagged by Google as being thin content and not having very much value because they're so small. So we want to make sure we've got a good word count on our pages as well. And then also internal linking. So internal linking is where we think about, for instance, our navigation menu and how the structure and architecture of our site works and how all of the pages link together. Obviously, that's slightly more advanced, but internal linking is a really important part of the customer journey. And it's also part of the way that Google's and other search engine bots explore your website. The second part of SEO is technical SEO. And I don't want you to feel too concerned about this, because if you're using a platform like Shopify or Squarespace or any of those website builders that you subscribe to and that host your website, they deal with a lot of this for you. So you don't have to worry about too much, but there's a few key things that it's worth paying attention to. So this is anything to do with how your website is crawled and indexed by the search engine. So it includes performance and then certain elements of user experience. So the first thing that I'm going to tell you that you should absolutely take away and do from this, even if you don't know how to use it, is to go away and install Google Search Console so that you can start collecting data for your domain. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, don't worry, just go away, install Google Search Console, and then that will start collecting data that you can use once you're happy to start tackling all things Search Console. So what are some of the things to keep an eye on for technical SEO? Website speed and performance, including how efficient your website's coding is. If you've had someone build you a custom template, sometimes that can slow your website down a bit. You can check your website speed online using tools like Pingdom, Pingdom's site speed test that can help. Submitting a sitemap to Google and making sure that you haven't excluded any pages in your robots text. Making sure that your site is secure, which is particularly important for Squarespace, because with Squarespace, they don't automatically send people to the secure version of your website. So that can sometimes impact your search engine results. And then things, we call them crawl errors, but if you have, say you have a product on your website and then it goes out of stock, so you delete the listing or you disable the listing, that basically means that Google has registered the link for that product in the index in its library, but when someone clicks on it, the book isn't there, if we use the library analogy. So when we delete a product, we have to set up a redirect to go to a live page of our website. Otherwise, again, it can impact our quality score with Google. So this is all just part of that housekeeping that we do as online business owners who run an online shop in our online digital high street. So if this is all feeling really overwhelming to you, do stick with me because I'm giving you all this information, but I do have something to tell you about at the end of this lesson, just to if you're wanting to get any kind of support for these tasks and you're really at a loss at where to start with it. So don't despair if you're feeling really overwhelmed. We're equipping you with this knowledge. You can take all those copious notes and then you can either go away or you can continue to work with me on a more group capacity. So off-page SEO then is the third type of SEO, and this is everything that impacts your SEO but is not directly related to your website. So this includes really making sure that your of building your brand online, and building authority with Google currently relies on building links from other websites as well as your brand's presence online. So for instance, if you get a feature in The Guardian and they link to your website, then that is good for you in Google's terms, because The Guardian is saying to Google, this website exists and we trust them enough to link to them. So when websites are more authoritative than yours and they link to you, it's like a recommendation from a friend in the eyes of Google. So what are some of the things to keep an eye on for your off-page SEO? PR and brand management online, making sure that you're managing your brand's appearance in search engines. You can set up Google alerts for your brand name and any main keywords in your industry. And you can create shareable content. So if you're an illustrator, for instance, you can create things like infographics that people might share on their blog and then link back to you. And that link back to your website is a really good thing for your brand. So this sounds like a huge amount, I'm aware, when I say it all to you in this, but you can do all of your SEO in 2 hours a month. And, 2 hours a month is generous. You could do it in less than that if you were really, really quick, or if your website hasn't got a lot of pages. But you do need to have the right strategy, because otherwise you can just be stumbling around in the dark, not 100% sure. You can make mistakes. You can end up having to go back and fix things and so on. So with the right strategy, you can do it in 2 hours a month. And there will be some initial one-off tasks that you have to do to get your website up and running. So if we think about it again, like that bricks and mortar shop, if you got a shop on the high street, you'd have to kit it out. You might have to do some cleaning. You might have to get rid of some rubbish that the previous people had left behind. You'd have to do a bit of a spring clean to get it ready. And so there's some initial one-off tasks that you have to do, but then maintaining it after that is really straightforward, again, with the right strategy. So I'm going to now walk you through the steps involved in creating an SEO action plan for your business. Do remember the replay is available, because this is going to be a really fast walkthrough of the things that you want to do for your SEO action plan, because I am cognizant of your time and we could be here until 11 o'clock at night. I love talking about SEO so much. So for the remainder of this session, I'm going to walk you through a simple plan to optimize your website, the different steps that you need to take. So the first thing is preparation and review. We want to know where we are now if we want to see where we are now if we want to get to where we're going. Hopefully that makes sense. If we don't assess where we are now, it's very difficult to take strategic action to course correct or to get to the goal that we want to achieve. So there are quick wins that we can implement to improve our conversion rate, for instance. I talked to you about those yesterday, but two things are that you could do, really quickly, are thinking about your shipping policies and thinking about your navigation menu. The second thing is understanding the basics. So Google made 3,200 algorithm updates in 1 year, which we saw on Monday's lesson. And that might sound terrifying, but it doesn't need to be, because when we understand the basics of what SEO is, what are some ranking factors, for instance, what should we avoid doing at all costs? Those things are important because it stops us from getting a Google penalty. So if we get a Google penalty because we've implemented something we found in a checklist from 2015, that can get expensive because you have to hire an SEO professional to fix that. And if you get a Google penalty, your website won't show in the search engine results pages at all. Step 3, your conversion rates. So we've covered this briefly so you can understand the importance of conversion rates, but we want to get the highest number of sales from your website traffic as possible. And we want to review the customer journey, do a deeper dive into conversion rate optimization strategies. And it's basically that idea of visual merchandising for your website. How can we get people to your beautiful products and services in as few steps as possible? The fourth step then is keyword research, which we've had a few questions about. So this can seem really overwhelming for a lot of creatives, but having keyword research skills benefits you on every single platform you sell on. So if you think about Etsy, for instance, Pinterest, YouTube, Google, all of those platforms are keyword driven because they are based on search algorithms. And I'm going to talk to you more about this in the bonus session tomorrow, but it can really help you with product development because it gives you an insight into your customers' frame of mind, the words they're using, the problems they've got, the things they're trying to solve, and products they're looking for that might not exist yet. So doing market research is made so much easier when you have keyword research skills, and it also helps you spot upcoming trends as well. So understanding which keywords to use involves being aware of the customer journey, and is really important that you know who your ideal customer is. So doing keyword research, I can give you keyword research tools until they're coming out of your ears. And I personally use Keywords Everywhere, which is a Google Chrome extension. But giving you a keyword research tool is like giving you a sewing machine and saying, okay, now you can make me a dress. Just because we have a tool doesn't mean we can do the thing effectively, right? Any of us could sit at a sewing machine and try to make a dress, and it was not necessarily going to fit us properly. So there's a step. It's a step-by-step process with keyword research, and the easiest way to do it is to map it against the customer journey and to understand the intent at each stage of that journey. So it's its own discipline, but it's a discipline that pays off massively, because when we understand how to do keyword research, it's really the key to unlocking a lot of our marketing quandaries. And the thing that I love most about SEO is if you take an SEO first approach to your marketing, where you say, okay, I want to be found by search engines, so this is the content I need to create, these are my product descriptions, this is what I need to do, and it's really foundational to the rest of your marketing, because you can repurpose your social media content from all of those different pieces of content that you've created for the search engines, product descriptions. You can take a piece of a product description and turn it into an Instagram caption. You can take a question that you wrote a blog post on and turn it into an Instagram reel. There's all of the content concepts that you're creating because you want to be found by search engines can be adapted and repurposed into content for social platforms, where it's much more short-term content and it doesn't have as much of a long-term impact on your business. The fifth step is doing a website audit. So audit is a scary word for a lot of people, especially if you're American, because I think the IRS does audits. So maybe it strikes the fear of God into you and you come out in a cold sweat. But doing a website audit is a really helpful process because it flags up lots of issues on our website. So it's like doing a survey of a building. And we split the, SEO split into these three parts that we saw earlier. And so our audit takes place, we look at technical stuff, we look at on-page stuff, and we look at off-page stuff, and we look at it as a three-step process and identify the opportunities that are available to us in each of those areas. The sixth step is technical performance. So now we've got our audit results, it's time for us to start optimizing our website section by section. I start with technical SEO because it's one of the quickest wins that you can get if you can improve your site speed, or you can implement your security certificate, making sure that your redirects are redirected. Those things are really can have a really quick impact on your site's quality and performance. And so starting with technical SEO is the way to go. Then we look at on-page SEO because this is looking at all of the content. So it's a slightly more time-consuming process. We have to think about obviously implementing our keyword research as well. And quite a lot of the time when people tell you they can do SEO, they're only talking about step 7 in this 10-step process. So we always want to be very cautious when people tell us that they can do SEO. And in this step, we want to address all of the on-page errors that our website audit showed us. So this includes creating epic product descriptions, optimizing different pages on your website, making sure that any pages with thin content are dealt with, making sure that your links are all working really well. And that's all part of this on-page SEO step. The 8th step then is off-page SEO. So off-page SEO is the most, technical SEO and on-page SEO. Both of those things can be maintained in a fractional amount of time each month once you've got the groundwork laid. And it's that idea of that, tidy up process. Off-page SEO is the thing that you're going to be spending more time on over, the next few months, because it's really building your brand's overall presence online, including looking at getting backlinks from other websites, and also making sure you're doing digital PR and the certain ways in which social media can impact your brand. So for instance, if you have the first page of Google, you want your Facebook, your Instagram, your Pinterest accounts to show on the first page of with Google as well underneath your website and your selling platforms. So off-page SEO is about building a community around your brand online that Google can see and understand the context and the authority that you hold in that space. Then the 9th step is content strategy. So content helps us walk our customers through the purchase journey when we do it strategically. And this includes things like blogging, for instance. Good keyword research, that step all the way back at the beginning, helps make our content strategy an absolute breeze. It's so straightforward because we might have approached our blogging in the past as, talking about Aunt Mabel's favorite type of potatoes on our photography blog. And that's a very, whimsical way of saying, if we're talking about things that are not related to our brand on our blog, so, what I ate for dinner, or, my favorite pie recipe, but you're a wedding stationer or you sell children's clothing, Google is looking at that content on your blog and it's like, I'm really confused because all this blog content is about, pies and the shop is about children's leggings. So what's going on here? And so our blogging and all of the posts that we do in our blog need to reinforce the keyword strategies that we've come up with for our brand and make sure we're talking about the area that our business is focused on. And this is such a difficult thing for creatives because we all are like, really distracted by shiny things. We have lots of ideas. We like pursuing new things, and it can get very boring maybe sometimes for people to blog about the same topic all the time. But if you get distracted or if you want to talk about something else, the best place to do that is your Instagram stories or your Instagram account to sort of add a little bit of dimension to your personality as the person who leads the brand. You don't want to be doing that on your blog because your blog is so important for your search engine optimization. So this question, we want to think, what do we want to be a topic authority on? So for me, I know a lot about marketing, guys. I'm really good at marketing. I get headhunted by people to be their chief marketing officers because I love marketing and I'm good at it. But I talk about SEO because that is my area of expertise and it's my area of authority. And I don't want to be known for talking about email marketing all the time because SEO is the thing that I love the most and I know has the most opportunity for business owners as well. And then the 10th step is reporting and metrics. So keeping an eye on certain numbers in your business will help you to, one, be encouraged by how your efforts are going to grow your business. And secondly, see which areas you need to work on and prioritize them accordingly. So this can be automated. So you can get reports from Google Analytics and Google Search Console delivered to your inbox on a monthly basis. And they'll come in and you can just see how they're going. And, it's data over drama. So we don't want to be feeling bad because we're not making enough sales. So I talked to someone recently and they're not making as many sales as they want to be making in their business. And so I did a deep dive with them and I said, okay, let's look at the numbers. And it's like, well, they haven't even had 100 visitors to their website in this period of time. So if you think about conversion rate, they're going to have made 2 sales because they've only had, 90 visitors to their website. So the key to getting more sales is to get more visitors. So it can really help us just take that emotional roller coaster out of our sales. We don't need to feel bad. We don't need to feel like nobody loves what we're doing and everyone thinks we're terrible. We can just say, okay, well, this is just a case of I haven't got enough people on my website this month. So that's why reporting and metrics are so important as well. So this sounds like a lot, but again, you can do all your SEO in 2 hours a month with the right strategy, and there will be these initial one-off tasks, and then maintaining it is really straightforward, again, with the right strategy. And the reason I'm reinforcing that is because I have just done a dump load of information to you via Facebook or YouTube or however you're watching. If you're watching the replay, you are probably sat there thinking, I need a stiff drink and a good nap because that is too much for me to digest. But I want you to really understand that even though that's a lot of information, this is stuff that can be done in a really manageable amount of time for you as an online business owner. And not only that, but because you are running an online business, it is vital that you do tackle it and get comfortable with it because it's part of your digital housekeeping. So hopefully you're all feeling really excited about it now that you've got a bit more information attached to what we've been talking about this week. And I've shown you these behind the scenes screenshots. I've shown you some numbers of things like how much agencies charge. I've shown you how different our traffic was over a 2-year period, just in terms of the way that we acquired that traffic, going from having less than 30% of organic traffic to over 50% organic traffic, because that's where we're at the minute. And I've shown you yesterday as well that worked out case study that shows you how SEO will grow your business over time when you implement it in a strategic and consistent way. So what is the downside of DIYing it using checklists from Google? So if you Google SEO, as we saw in this session, you can get a whole lot of overwhelming and difficult to understand language, especially if you don't have any experience in the industry. It can be really hard to demystify it. And it can also take you years to start seeing results while you figure out a strategy for yourself, and you can risk Google penalties in the process. And the third thing is that you get taught by trial and error, which are life's most expensive teachers. I don't know if you have your own stories about things you've tried to do by trial and error because you thought, oh, that looks really easy, and then you do it and you're like, oh, it wasn't actually as easy as I thought it was, and it ends up costing more in the long run. I've had a few of those myself. But the benefits of working within a proven system mean you don't have to Google anything, because it gets handed to you as an actionable checklist by an expert. You start seeing short-term results as well, with your conversion rate improving, and then you start to see results within 3 to 6 months rather than years. And your marketing gets done quickly and efficiently with minimal risks of Google penalties, which means you have more time to do the things you love in your business, because I am sure that you did not set up your business to become a full-time marketing bod, to worry about this all the time and think about it constantly. You want time in your business to do the things that you love, being creative, all of that good stuff. So what is the biggest benefit of all? You can focus your time then on making and doing. Your time is your most precious resource, right? I always, when I'm given the choice between time and money, I always pick time, because time is not a renewable resource. Once it's gone, we can never get it back. Money, we can always make more money. It's a resource that, even though sometimes it might feel difficult for us to make it, but it's a renewable resource. It's something that we can get more of, and time is not. So trying to learn SEO the DIY way is only beneficial really if you want to be a professional SEO, because you can learn a lot in the process. But unless you want to be a professional SEO in the future, it's not something that I would recommend as a good use of time. When you get all the surplus information filtered out and presented to you in a way that is specifically relevant to your business, it's a much more effective use of your time as a business owner. So if you want to start thinking about SEO and long-term marketing strategies to increase your traffic and sales, then I've got just the thing for you, which I'm going to share with you for just a minute or two, and then I'm going to answer all your questions. I know that this session has been longer than the other evenings because we had those 10 steps to go through, and I wanted to make sure I explained all the good SEO stuff to you. So I wanted to talk to you just very briefly about the SEO bundle. So what is the SEO bundle? It's a course that I have developed after spending 15 years in the SEO industry and 7 years working with creative business owners like you. And it's a bundle of resources that you get that will give you everything you need to know to basically do SEO online. So it's designed to help you confidently sort out your SEO. And when you join, you get lifetime access to my SEO system, which includes, first of all, the SEO course, which is worth £500. And it's got 11 modules of content that walk you through each of those individual things that we looked at today. Every one of those steps that we looked at, you get actionable checklists and step-by-step how-tos to help you do that quickly. And I am a no waffle person. So those they're really short and succinct lessons that just help you get to the point and get them done as quickly as possible. We've also got the keyword research course. So that is, it sounds like a lot, but it's 50 tiny lessons that are just like a few minutes, you know, three to 7 minutes long, that help you. And also some of those are like templates and things as well, but it helps you create the most comprehensive keyword research strategy for your business. It helps you understand how to research keywords for your products, look at keywords for your blog posts, how to implement keywords on your website. It is the whole shebang, and that is normally £300. And then we've got the blogging for SEO course, which is when you complete the SEO course, it unlocks the blogging for SEO course. And that is a 4-module course that takes you through blogging to get found by search engines, including how to create a content plan, a blog post template, and exactly how to upload it, as well as how to decide what to blog on, and basically just handhold you through that blogging process. We've also got SEO for Pinterest, which is a course that shows you how to use your keyword research on Pinterest and how to start generating more traffic from Pinterest. And then it also includes 6 months of live support with me. So that is bi-weekly support calls. So every 2 weeks, we have a coaching call where we hop on for an hour, and there's a group of you, and you will be able to ask me all your questions, troubleshoot any bottlenecks, and make sure that you keep moving forward to get results from your SEO. So we're not just giving you a whole load of content and saying, off you go. We're saying, here is the teaching that you need to implement. And then when you get stuck, hop on one of these calls and we'll talk through it, and I'll give you one-to-one feedback in those like mini hot seats, basically, for you to ask the question and me to answer that within that group setting. We've also got a Facebook group for day-to-day questions. As you're implementing your SEO, you can ask questions in there. And we've got monthly office hours via Voxer. So 1 day a month, you can one-to-one me on Voxer. You can send me voice notes and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Could you give me a bit of advice? And that's included as well. And then we also have live workshops and additional content. I've had 2 different cohorts of students join this, and every time someone joins, they get all of my other courses, right? So I've got people who just bought the SEO course, and they now have got access to all of these resources as well. So when you join my courses, if I create another course like you know, quick Christmas SEO, you get that included. You get my product description pro, you get my marketing framework, lifetime access to all of that good stuff as well. So the SEO bundle includes all of this, but I am also somebody who enjoys over delivering. And so you get access to anything else that I create as well in terms of resources for search engine optimization. And when you join before Friday, you also get a bonus day of Voxer with me. So day of Voxer is one of my favorite things that I do. And it's a one-to-one day where you get access to me from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. And you can send me your questions on Voxer, which is a walkie-talkie app. It's like voice notes on Instagram or WhatsApp, and it's worth £297. And if you join the course before Friday, then you get access to that. So the course is £695, and the price goes up to £995 next Thursday. So you can save £300 and access the course for £695. There is a payment plan available as well, and I'll put the link in the comments for anyone who is interested in it. Obviously, we've also got a masterclass next Tuesday as well. I know that some people aren't going to be in a position financially to invest in this right now, but I am committed to sharing value with you, and I hope that you see that in today's workshop, because there's plenty for you to sort of go away and digest. But I know that it's really overwhelming, and going away and Googling it is adds to that overwhelm. YouTube University is only good for if you're trying to, you know, find out how to change the wheel of a car. It's not typically good for things that require sort of strategic thinking and so on. So thank you so much for joining me for SEO School so far. It would be amazing to see you inside the SEO bundle. I would love to see you inside. But now we've got time for questions. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And if you've got anything in particular that you have questions about, you can fire them over to me now. So I am going to pop this in the chat box with this link, and I'm gonna, that's on, it's on YouTube. I don't know how to do it onto Facebook. I haven't mastered that yet, but I've just put the link on the screen so you can see the link, which will take you to the information page. It's got all the information that I've shared on this workshop here. And again, as I said, if you join before Friday, you get that bonus day of Voxer with me, which is one-to-one support, and it's worth £300. So just a couple of questions there. Marie asks, is the bundle for service for creative businesses, or would it work for service type businesses too? It's designed for product and service-based businesses. It's designed for you if you're a business to business, or if you're business to customer as well. So direct to consumer would be like products. But if you're business to business, maybe I've got somebody who has seen incredible results from the course, and she's worked with people like Facebook and Google since she did the course, and she works with business to business as well. So that is just to sort of help you find out if that's for you. But if you just want to ask any other questions, feel free to ask. And I am going to just go up here and answer some of your questions that have come through. Amy asks, is port normal? I think port is completely normal because my best friend is obsessed with port. She drinks it all the time. Amazing. So Emma says 43.9% is direct traffic, 28.9% is search, 13.8% is referral, and 12% from social, and then 1.5% from email traffic. That's a really good mix, and it's great that you're not overly reliant on one particular type. Direct traffic is good because it shows brand awareness. So when people think of a product, they're coming directly to your website. So that's amazing. Kyla says her pen is flying. I'm not surprised. I know there was a lot of information in that workshop. Lucy's mind is blown by technical SEO. That is completely normal. It always happens, believe me. So Iram asks, do you have any tips for what to make sure to do when building a brand new product e-com website? So the most important thing for you to do when you're starting a new website is to be really clear on who your customer is and what your keywords are, and then building out your site architecture with that in mind. So make sure you've got a really good sense of that, and then build your website with the e-commerce customer journey in mind. So in the SEO bundle, one of the things that I spend quite a lot of time talking about in general anyway is the customer journey, because when we understand the customer journey for our business, we understand bottlenecks for why people might not be buying. So for instance, if loads of people are following us on social media but they're not making a purchase, it's because they are still considering what we have to offer, and we haven't demonstrated the pain point enough to them, or maybe highlighted the benefits to them. So the customer journey is a really important thing for us to understand about our businesses in general, but it's particularly helpful when we're building a website. Is the redirect a 404 page? So a 404 page is the error page. So 404 is what happens when Google has the URL in its index, but there's nothing showing for that page. So if you try to go to a URL that doesn't have any content attached to it, it'll give you a 404 error. And we always want to avoid that. So what happens is when a 404 error happens on our website, we take that URL and we set up a redirect so that if anyone tries to visit that 404 page, it will automatically send them to a live page using what's known as a 301 redirect. Yes, the session is being recorded, so don't worry. That will be in the group and on YouTube as well. Can we talk about how to link build, please? I always wonder how to do this. Yeah, so the key to link building is just providing really good value for your audience. So I worked with a company who worked with a lot of people with chronic illness. And so even though their business wasn't specifically related to chronic illness, one of the benefits of their product was that it made the lives of people with chronic illness much easier. So to do link building, we created a whole lot of resources that answered questions about how to deal with that particular product as somebody with chronic illness. And then we reached out to people like the Fibromyalgia magazine and different bloggers who have chronic illness. And we said, hey, look, we've created this resource that'll be really interesting to your followers. You check it out. And, if you're happy to link to it, then great. And so providing value is the key thing for link building. Otherwise, it just becomes us emailing people saying, please, can you link to my website? And then it's not great. It's not very professional either. Digital PR is really, really good for link building. So I don't have a lot of time for print PR because I have had a couple of features in the past. I never ever see a benefit of sales from it. All you get is a nice media badge where you can say as featured in on your website. But digital PR is great because you're getting those links back from those websites. So if you're getting featured by the Independence Christmas gift guys, you're getting a link back for that. So that's why digital PR can be a really good investment for link building. What are the things we need to avoid at all costs? There's quite a little list, but a couple of things are things like keyword stuffing. Loads of people still do this, and also hiding text on your website. So if people are building a portfolio website, sometimes they don't want to, artists and photographers and people like that, they want the imagery to do all the talking, but Google can only see images in as much as we attach text to those images by adding alt text. And so sometimes people will put hidden text on the website where they make the text the same color as the background, and that is a big no-no in SEO. So there's a few other things. Paula Marie asks, what is a Google penalty? If Google thinks that you are contravening its webmaster guidelines, it will put a manual action on your website, and it will stop your website from being found in the search engine results page. So that's why we want to avoid doing some of these shady tactics. Are Instagram and Facebook driven by keywords? No, because they are a social media platform rather than a search platform. So we're going to talk about this more in tomorrow's bonus session. So do join me for that tomorrow at 8 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. EST. I'll be talking to you about the difference between search and social, so you can understand what is going on with those different types of platforms. How do we do keyword research? Keyword research is a huge, it's literally a huge topic. That's why I've created a course on it. So how do we do keyword research? Understanding the customer journey, you can use a tool like Keywords Everywhere to find keywords that people are searching for, but you really need to understand your customer. So understanding your customer and understanding how Google works and understanding what you have to offer and the pain points it solves, those are the key things that we need to think about when we're going to do effective keyword research. So you mentioned that duplicate content is not good. For product listings, I have the delivery information in each listing. Should I move this away onto one linked page? You can do that. So Google says a substantive amount of text for duplicate content. So I tend to say to people, if you've got 80% unique content and then 20% is things like delivery information, then that's fine. But you want to make sure that at least 80% of the page is unique content for that page. Isabella, how do we map it against customer journey? That is not something we have time for tonight, but you can, it's really comprehensively done in the SEO bundle if you decide to sign up for that. Sophie says, I'm totally redesigning my website. Is it better to delete it and start from scratch rather than amending it to avoid lots of old links on Google? No, it's better to redesign it and set up redirects. If you delete it, you have a site migration issue, which is a bigger SEO problem. Sorry to everyone whose mind is blown. I've not a clue where my redirects are going. I feel like Wreck-It Rap. So you should be able to check your redirects and where your broken links are in Google Search Console. What is a good amount of words for a product description so it's not thin? At least 250 words. Emma says, I'm on Squarespace. If I'm building out my product descriptions over 150 words, it takes the text below the fold and pushes my cart button below the fold. Can this be helped? Yeah, no, it can't be helped. And I would say it's more important for you to have your button above the fold for your Squarespace website. But that's part of the conversion problems with Squarespace in general. It's like a little user experience issue. So I would stick to shorter descriptions and see if you can add an extra bit underneath your add to cart button. Normally with Squarespace, you can tend to add extra sections relatively easily. So you might be able to do that below the add to cart button. Any SEO ways to encourage people to sign up for my newsletter? Yes, so blogging is really good for that, and setting up calls to action in your blog posts to take people to your newsletter. I want to delete lots of blog posts that don't tie in. Would it be better to amend them or delete them and redirect? Delete and redirect. Where do we blog? On our websites. Don't do it on Medium because that has no SEO benefit for you. When a discontinued product is in lots of different collections, do I need to do a URL redirect for each URL or just for the main product page? Just for the main product page, because Shopify does a magical thing in the background called canonicalization. So you shouldn't need to do it for all of the different collections. You only need to do it for the main product page, and then the settings are filtered down as well. How do you automate your Google Analytics report? That's all covered in the SEO bundle. Again, I don't have time to do a lot of practical tutorials because we're already over time, and I don't want loads of you to be going to bed with your heads completely mashed. Yes, Google Analytics is free and it's amazing. It's so good. Thanks so much, Lisa. That's great feedback. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. We've got someone who needs to swap their coffee for gin. I do tend to have that effect on people, so I'm very sorry. But hopefully it's not like alcoholic levels of gin. It's just like, let's just relax and unwind slightly from this intense amount of information. What's the best way to audit your site? There is an entire module of that in the SEO course. Again, like website audits are a big thing that SEOs charge thousands of pounds for. So it's too big of a topic for me to cover in this session. But it is in the SEO bundle. And obviously, if you can't afford to sign up for that, you can always check it out on Google. But as I've said, Google's not always the best source of information for things. How do we go about learning to do proper audits or keyword research? Do you sell mini classes or ebooks? I mainly just sell the SEO course, the SEO bundle. So the individual courses are available, but honestly, the total value of the course is like over £4,000. And I sell all of those things individually. So buying it as the bundle is like the most cost-effective thing. Emma says, I'm going to become the new Aggie and Kim of digital housekeeping. I love that as a marketing concept. Maybe I'll be doing that at some point. Kirsty says, the 2 hours a month spent on SEO, should that be in one sitting or split into 2 separate hours? I'm not sure if it's best to tweak things once a month or a couple of times a month. It's completely up to you. You know, doing it an hour every 2 weeks, doing it 30 minutes a week, doing it 2 hours a month. It's really, SEO is a long-term thing. So it's not a real big problem if you decide to do it all in one go, or if you decided to split it out. But I like batch working and batch doing my tasks. So yeah, Arlene said the time flew by. That's good, because hopefully it shows it wasn't boring. Amazing. So yeah, there's a payment plan. Do give me feedback on that. I'm happy to add another payment plan if it's helpful for people. I know that times are tough at the moment for some people, but online business is booming. And that's why I feel confident to tell you that this is a good investment for your business. I wouldn't tell you that if I thought it was a risky investment, because I care deeply about small businesses. Do you have experience with Google sites? I haven't personally worked on Google sites. I know there's things like even GoDaddy does sites as well, and there's lots of like smaller things. I haven't come across Google doing anything apart from like Google My Business. So I'd need to ask you some follow-up questions about that, Annika. Paula Marie, I thought of my website as a way to take sales payment, not really about selling itself. So much for me to get on going with. Yeah. So, and it's not shameful. Don't worry. Like there's no shame at all in this, because we all have our own areas of expertise, right? Like loads of you guys are the most incredible artists or counselors or photographers or whatever your area of expertise is. And if you were doing a workshop, I would be sat there thinking, I do not know anything about this whatsoever. So when we don't know about things, it's just normal. It's just part of being a business owner. I think just understanding that our online space is like a bricks and mortar shop on the internet is helpful, because it helps us to understand how SEO can benefit our shop in a way that is much more straightforward to understand. So we've got someone with a couple of questions, so feel free to ping those through. I struggle with balancing not duplicating content versus thin content. Yeah, 100%. So one of the things that's included in the SEO bundle is my product description pro course, which gives you all the guidelines. It's only like a $27 course. It's not a huge investment, but it gives you prompts for writing product descriptions, because it is mind-numbing trying to write product descriptions when you have got a whole load of stuff to that's similar or has a similar pain point, for instance. Our new website is still under construction. Do I start all the SEO work once it's complete? We've started up a beverages business. So it's actually better to start your SEO as soon as possible. So if you're building a website, it's good because you can get all of the things implemented as you build, rather than having to go back and make edits once it's built. I looked at my Google Analytics, but I don't know what a bounce rate is. So one of the other things that we do cover in the SEO bundle is exactly what the metrics are and how to understand them and how to demystify them. But the bounce rate, to tell you here on this call, is the number of people, the percentage of people who leave your website after visiting only one page. So it's a bit of a complicated way of explaining that. But basically, a good bounce rate is between 40 and 60%. What do you mean by duplicate content? So that's content that appears in more than one place on the internet. And what are Google penalties? They sound terrifying. It's actually quite hard to get a Google penalty, but taking advice from like free checklists can be a way to end up with them if you haven't vetted them already. So for instance, there's SEO tactics that would have been used 8 years ago by people who would maybe recommend using them now, and they would get you a Google penalty because it's people trying to hack the algorithm. So Google doesn't like it when people try to hack the algorithm. It just likes people to do things nicely and well. And so that's what the SEO bundle is all about. It's like how to just do it well so that it has longevity and it just gives you a good return on investment for years to come. But lots of people will say, oh, here's how to hack your way to #1 in Google. Google's much more intelligent than that. So if they see you trying to use those tactics, they will put this manual action on your website. But you don't need to worry about it for the most part because, you know, if you're just running your business nicely and you're not trying to scam anyone or anything, it is harder to get them as long as you're taking good advice. Kirsty, also, once you found the right keywords and phrases, should you put them in as much as possible or limit the use per page or to certain pages? So you put them in particular locations. You don't want to cram them in too many times because that can be seen as keyword stuffing, which it goes against Google's quality guidelines. And you want to make sure you've got one keyword per page on your website. So yes, it is negative to Google if you use them too much. Would you say it's worth going for the shop in your website from the start rather than using a shop somewhere like Etsy? Yes, personally, I like having everything on a platform I own and control. So with Etsy, when you have customers through Etsy, those customers belong to Etsy. They're not actually your customer. They've bought a product through Etsy from you, but they're Etsy's customer. So when people come to your website, they're your customer. You know, you're responsible for their data. They can sign up for your mailing list, and you can approach them again through email marketing or through retargeting advertising if you wanted to get them to come back to your website. So I like having my own website because it's my own data that I control. How much is too much duplicate content on your website? So I've answered that already, I think, but the 80-20 rule applies to different pages, and we just want to make sure that as much of our content as possible is unique. 62%. If it's an Etsy page, then don't worry too much about it. It's Etsy's problem, not yours. Can you explain internal linking, please? Yes. So it's basically just how you get from one page to the other. So internal linking is like what pages, you know, if you're on your homepage, how do you get to this particular page? What are the pages is it connected to? And it's a bit more complicated than I have time for again with this, because lots of these things are much more in depth to explain exactly how it works. But basically, it's about creating pillars of content on your website where you say all of these keywords, you know, show that I'm an expert in marketing for creative businesses, for instance. So internal linking is really important because it shows Google what content hubs you've got, but it also helps people navigate through to reach their end goal that you want them to take. How do you know if you have Google penalties? Check Google Search Console under the manual actions section. For hidden text on sites, does that include text set with display non-styles? Hidden text has its benefits, like describing content to screen readers. Yeah, so some hidden text is obviously used for screen readers, but I'm talking about if we've got substantive amounts of hidden text that are on the page that we're just trying to hide it from Google. So if we can't afford to do the SEO bundle, do you offer courses individually? Yes, but not right now. It will be available in the next couple of weeks. The payment plan for the bundle is available on this link. So if you want to see the payment plan, see the more information about the course, you can just go to this URL and you will have all the information, and there's a pay in full option. If you want to get the Day of Voxer, you need to sign up with the pay in full option, and you will get that bonus added to your account. Awesome. I'm just going through here. Sorry, bear with me a second. Okay, so let me just check the payment plan because a couple of people are having issues with that. Bear with me a second. Let me just pull this up. Sorry, 1 second, guys. Just want to make sure that it's working while I'm talking to you. Let me just see what other questions have come through. Annika, I'll have to get back to you on the Google Sites thing. The course is suitable for any platform, but I just need to double check exactly what exactly functionality you've got with that. 250 words per product. Yes, that is correct. I'm planning to change my website domain. What do I do? That's a site migration. It's really straightforward. So don't worry too much about that at all. You can do that relatively easily. So here we go. So let's just edit this pricing section. Yeah, okay. Bear with me a moment. Okay, sorry about that. The payment plan button is now working. So you should be able to do that now. There we go. Perfect. It's not hidden text. We never, ever, ever want to have hidden text on our website. So it's if we put anything on our website, it's always visible to customers. If you make it hidden text, you will risk a Google penalty. So I want to just really enunciate that clearly, because I don't want you going away and putting hidden text on your website after this workshop and getting a Google penalty, because it will be very bad for your business. So do not put any hidden text on your website unless you have sought professional advice. And that's for things like making it more accessible and so on. But 250 words visible to the customer at all times. Basically, your customer needs to see what Google sees. Claire, I am wearing a Hello Terry necklace. At all times, I'm wearing a Hello Terry necklace. I also have some earrings, and also my studio does earrings as well. So I am just all about the colourful clay jewellery, and yeah, I'm here for it. My husband bought that for me, and it was actually, I think I contacted you through Instagram. Amazing. So thank you so much for the kind feedback as well. If there's one thing we can all do today to improve our SEO, what should we do first? So start at the beginning of the checklist and start working your way through. Start at the beginning of the plan. The payment plan for the bundle is on the sales page. So just to answer that question again, Kylie, if it's easier for me to do it in dollars to rand, let me know. Just pop an email over to me and I can look at that, because I'm happy to. I do charge in dollars as well, so that's no problem if it's easier. I have 30 different card designs. Should each of those descriptions be completely different? Yes, they should. Annika, you're so welcome. Thank you for that. Would you suggest putting testimonials on your pages? Yes, they're really good for social proof, and it's good. It's just a good indicator that your website is well thought of and that customers enjoy their experience with you. How does SEO relate to direct search? It is direct search. Direct traffic from your to your website is where people type your website in. In terms of search, branded keywords, SEO is important, because making sure that your website shows up for branded keywords, which are an alternative to direct traffic, is important as well. Are keywords the same as tags? No, they're not, but keywords are used as tags. Do you cover building mailing lists on the courses? It's strictly SEO, but it's not, because I love talking about marketing. So I'm actually working on a marketing strategy mini course and an email marketing course that will get added into any students who buy the SEO bundle. They'll get automatic access to those mini courses as well. And I did a marketing funnel workshop that all my SEO students had access to, that would have been £40 normally. So there's a lot of additional things that I put on throughout the year that people get access to because they're my student, without having an additional cost attached to it. In Australian dollars. Sorry about that, Carolyn. And again, if the US dollar is a better format for you, then just let me know, because I can set up US dollars. Do you get the Day of Voxer bonus if you sign up to the 3 monthly plan? It's just for pay in full before Friday. Great stuff. Yes, the payment plan will be available after the price goes up, but the payment plan will go up to £349, I think, for 3 months. Yes, we'll have, I might have another one that is a lower payment for a longer period of time, depending on feedback. But yes, it will be available when the price goes up. So basically the price is going up because I literally have just got so much content in there now. It's like so valuable. And if you think about, you know, clients that I work with who are spending £500 a month on their SEO agency, if this gives you everything you need to do, so you don't need to hire an SEO agency until you can afford to just like splash the cash and get it done. But you shouldn't ever need to hire an SEO agency with these resources, because even if your business is growing and you're getting team members on board, you can actually get a team member to go through the course and implement it on your website. So if you think about the amount of money that you can save in the long term, as well as the amount of revenue that you'll get from search engine traffic, the price is going up because the value, like my operations manager wants me to put it up to £2,000, and I was like, not a chance. That's not ever going to happen. So it's never going to go up to that. What is hidden text? So hidden text is explained in the SEO bundle. So I'm gonna, don't worry, like if you're joining the course, I will talk about all of these things in more detail. Hidden text is where you have a whole lot of text on your website and you try to hide it from people by either making it the same color as your background or hiding it in the code, but not displaying it to the customer. And Google gets very upset about it. Is the bundle the same cost every year? The price is going up to by £300. So it's basically adding like 50% almost onto the price next Thursday. So it's only available at this price for the next week, and then the price goes up to £1,000, and it may go up to £1,200 in the new year, just because the one-to-one, the day of Voxer stuff, the office hours, all of the extra support is quite time intensive for me. So you have lifetime access to the course and 6-month access to the support, and you can delay your support starting until January. If you're a really busy e-commerce business now and you say, actually, I want to start my support in January, you can start it in January and you can have it run from January till June, or you can start it now and have it run from now until April, May, whatever 6 months from now is. So the live support is 6 months, and that's really to encourage you to actually do it. So when you've got a deadline on the live support, you're more inclined to get all your SEO fixed and get all your housekeeping done, and then you can you'll get a discount on Day of Voxer stuff after that if you want to continue support after that. Okay, cool. I'll look at adding another payment option tomorrow. But yeah, lifetime access to the course content. And also when Google does an algorithm update, I'll let you know what you need to do to fix your website. So you literally never need to worry about an algorithm update from Google, because I will just say to you, hey guys, this is what's changed and now you need to do this. So that will be true until, you know, I finish my career as an SEO. And then you'll still have access to all the content. Okay, perfect. I will add the lower payment option possibly tonight. So yes, thank you for that feedback. And if you've got any further questions, you can let me know now. Otherwise, tomorrow night we have got the bonus session exploring search versus social algorithms. So do join me at 8 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. EST, and I will be talking to you about Pinterest, YouTube, Etsy, Facebook, Instagram, all the things. And I will be having literally my best Thursday evening ever, because I love talking about algorithms. So I'm looking forward to doing that tomorrow. But yes, if you have any further questions as you mull everything over, then remember we also have a dedicated Q&A session happening on Friday. So you can bring your marketing questions to me. I'm open to any questions. You don't have to specifically bring SEO questions. You can bring me more marketing questions if you want to. Throw me a challenge, and I look forward to that as well. So email marketing, if you've got questions about ads, anything like that, you can pick my marketing brain on Friday. Perfect. Great stuff. Thank you so much, everyone. It has been great to spend another evening with you. I look forward to my little rant tomorrow about search and social. It'll be a little bit more informal because it's a bonus session, so it'll be a bit more of a chat. And then we'll have our Q&A session on Friday as well. And yes, yeah, I'll send an email first thing in the morning. I will send an email with the announcement about the course and an update about the payment plan options as well. And just remember that if you want that Day of Voxer bonus, then you will have to sign up before Friday. Sorry, my brain just froze that. Can tell it's getting towards 9:30, and it's for pay in full, that bonus. Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone. I will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful night, and I will, I'll see you tomorrow. Go and enjoy a cheeky gin after taking in all that SEO information, and I will see you tomorrow evening. So thanks for joining me. Thank you for giving up your time to explore this topic, and I will see you tomorrow.